Welcome into the third quarter of the Coach Keathley Show. During the off-season, the minors and the CBA has been going through a lot of changes. Whether it's dealing with the economy or the state of the league, everyone has had to make some adjustments. In this week's segment of Accompanied Minors, I sat down with Demetrius to talk about both.
The CBA this year, I believe, is actually going to be a lot stronger than it was last year. A lot of people don't know the CBA is a 63-year-old brand. Last year, we had some expansion teams. We were one of them, but unfortunately, there were a few other expansion teams that, obviously weren't really prepared for this business. It's a very capital-intensive business, and very, very dependent on fans and corporate support, community support, and things like that. And there were a few teams that just, for whatever reasons, didn't hit on all cylinders, and financially they were having some issues. And the CBA, that brand is very, very valuable. We want to keep it that way. So what happened in the off season is a lot of teams were had to make some decisions whether they were going to be able to continue this year or they were going to go to a different league, and kind of that's what happened. So it's kind of we're going through a transitional phase right now.
You mentioned how some of the expansion teams last year were struggling, coming into this year, looking at the economy, how will the minors do and how much does that impact you guys?
Well, again, going back to what I said about teams being heavily dependent upon sponsorships and fans, we feel it here. We thought that after our first year, the product that we put on the floor, we thought that sponsorship would be up this year, and quite frankly, it's about at the same level it was last year, because those that wanted to participate and help out this year are feeling that economic impact. We believe that attendance is going to be up because there were no real increases on tickets, and coming to a minors game is as affordable as going to a movie, for a family. So when people are looking how they're going to spend their entertainment dollar, they're not driving to Lexington, from here anymore. They're not going to go to, Charleston or Huntington. They want to see what they can do around here. So we're a very big value proposition from that standpoint. So I think that we actually, we're a ray of hope for a lot of people. At the gate, we won't be so heavily impacted by the economy.
When you look at last year, you guys obviously an expansion team. You guys finished 4 games over 500. You score 194 points, which is a record. You lead the league in scoring. How would you evaluate last season?
In a lot of areas, I would say that we overachieved. As a expansion franchise. We could have won the whole thing. We had that blip in the playoffs when it really counted, but overall, the talent that we had the youngest team in the league, a lot of rookies, a lot of unknowns, but Coach Keathley did what he had to do. When we decided to bring this team to Pikeville, we had no contacts here. There was not a real talent pool, from a sales and marketing standpoint, from the sports industry. We had to start with literally nothing, bringing people in that had never done this and train them and get them going. And if you were somebody just on the outside looking in, you would think we'd been doing this for 30 years. I mean, I'm very, very happy with what we did the first year. But this year, with the talent that we got coming into camp, we're gonna be real tough to beat this year.
All right, Coach. He says you guys are gonna be real tough to beat this year. So with that, how are you handling expectations?
I tell you what, Demetrius was in his alter ego mode, Mr. DJ Matrix. I tell you what, he's done a lot of different things. Derek, he's been in the Marine Corps, served in Desert Storm. He was, like I said, his alter ego. He may kill me for saying this, Derek. DJ Matrix, he had the gear going on there, rocking the gear, and of course now he's owner. But the thing that Demetrius and a lot of people know, is in that interview, a lot of serious business he touched on. But one thing he builds personal relationships throughout the community. And I tell you what, he hit on some really important questions there, where the questions you asked, he gave some pretty good answers to.
Well, I got to go back real quick. You mentioned the DJ Matrix. What is that and exactly where is that?
Well, I tell you what, I can't elaborate too much, Derek. I'll have to get his approval. He's kind of kept it on the hush hush, but he's back in the day, apparently he had a hit in the 80s. I don't want to throw the song out there because folks may get on LimeWire or something to find it, but he had a hit back in the 80s, techno hit, and he was in the music business for a little bit. So I thought he was rocking the alter ego there with the DJ Matrix gear. But
no, very interesting fact. We'll hear more from him later on in the season, but that will do it for the third quarter of the Coach Kevin Keathley Show. But when we return, we'll hear from the fans of the East Kentucky Miners in our long distance connection.